Why is the establishment media pushing so hard to register and ban guns for the general population here in the United States? Well, it's the same reason they push for victim disarmament in Europe and England. We're going under economic bondage to the corporate elite. They are bankrupting the planet by design. We're going under economic indentured servitude. And it doesn't matter if the FBI's own statistics from local governments, some of the most trusted statistics in the world, show a 49% drop in violent crime in the last 20 years that correlates to the increase in gun ownership. Facts don't matter. They use emotion. They wave the bloody shirt of 20 dead children at Sandy Hook and say that collectively all gun owners are responsible for that. It's like saying if someone wrecks a car, all car owners are collectively guilty for what someone's done with their car. There have been plenty of people that have killed others with a car. But that's not why I'm doing this video. No, I'm doing this video because I realize that most of the people serving this anti-gun agenda really are just ignorant people who are playing along with what they think is popular, climbing the social ladder. They are social mercenaries. But I do want to appeal to their sense of dignity, if they have any. I saw a video that was published today by Jim Carrey and Funny or Die. And it was so sophomoric, but also so vicious, that it made me fundamentally not hate Jim Carrey, but fundamentally have a complete break with him and all of the victim disarmament class forever. They're not calling for an end of drones killing in whole villages to get, quote, one bad guy. They're not calling for an end of the scourge of vaccines and the Vaccine Damage Fund, injuring hundreds of thousands and killing thousands a year. They're not questioning why the government's buying thousands of armored vehicles and billions of rounds of ammo. Oh no, they're all for the state having guns. They just don't want the individual to have guns. And in this video, in this disgusting video where he mocks Charlton Heston, he makes fun of him and says, hey, you're dead now. And basically has some type of sick victory dance on his grave. And then he says, anyone that wants a gun has a small sexual member. And then says, how dare you want to protect yourself in your home from what you believe is criminals. I mean, it's so sophomoric, it's almost pro-Second Amendment. You almost think it's dark satire, but it's not. He's publicly anti-gun. And there's all these weird comedians running around and collectively laughing at the gun owners at the end when Charlton Heston blows his foot off. It was just embarrassing. This is a major civil rights issue. The Ku Klux Klan was the first group to get gun laws passed when blacks won their freedom in this country. And, you know, I had a chance to interview Charlton Heston a few times. And the second time I interviewed him, I was just blown away by the fact that he said, hey, you know, if you'd like to talk more about the Second Amendment or strategies to defend it, give me a call sometime. And I talked to some of the local Second Amendment groups, and they said, no, he does upwards of 50 radio interviews a week. And he spends time with everybody. And when they were trying to ban supplements federally, he fought for the rights. And he even came on local radio on 590 and was defending supplement rights. I mean, this was a real humanitarian who marched when it wasn't cool to march for civil rights and who really got it. And so I decided to call Charlton Heston up. And he's like, oh, hello, Alex. You know, my wife says I'm working a little too hard, but I'm happy to talk to you. And you know, we're going to defend liberty in America. And, you know, it's to every generation. And you're a young man. I'm familiar with your work. He mentioned my film on the UN, America Destroyed by Design. He said, it's up to you in the future. I mean, this is incredible what a real person he was. And I like Jim Carrey. But, you know, he kind of was just a typecast guy. But I wasn't a huge fan. But now he's just dead to me. And it's just so painful to see this attack on the individual. The idea of the individual armed to protect themselves is so ugly to these people. But then they love the state being armed. So I wanted to play Charlton Heston on civil rights. And then I wanted to play the majority of his cold dead hand speech that makes the anti-individualist so angry. But here's that civil rights clip.
Ago, I picketed some restaurants in Oklahoma, but without one exception, up until very recently, like most Americans, I expressed my support of civil rights largely by talking about it at cocktail parties, I'm afraid. But again, like many Americans this summer, I could no longer pay only lip service to a cause that was so urgently right and in a time that is so urgently now.
They say in the Jim Carrey comedy video that's like watching, the Pharisees demonize Christ or something. I mean, it's that same demonic fervor. They say in the video, "You're dead." Really? Your cold dead hands? You're dead. You're dead, Charlton Heston. And they laugh about it, have the women all laughing. And it's so evil, it makes them look bad and they can't even see it. And then I went back and watched his speech that makes them so angry. Charlton Heston will live forever for standing up for civil rights and liberty, for vitamin rights, for mineral rights, for civil rights, for the Second Amendment rights. He was an individualist. Because everybody knows the take the gun for my cold dead hand clip. But at the beginning, he describes it all beautifully about how the individual can be armed, not just the state, and how that's the true expression of liberty. We have to steel ourselves. We have to get hardcore with these anti-gunners folks who've all got bodyguards and weapons of their own. They really are authoritarians. And they really are dangerous people, and they've done this worldwide. But let me just play the famous clip you all know. That I'm going to play it from the beginning, but here it is.
From my cold, dead hands.
Take it from my cold, dead...
From my cold, dead hands.
Okay, there you go. And by the way, when he was fooled early on, he supported the 68 Gun Control Act because he thought it would keep criminals from getting guns. But then he realized that criminals wouldn't follow laws, so he said repeal them. But here is the full speech, or a larger clip of it for time constraints, where he breaks it all down.
Stands in the path of danger. In instinct seems to summon her finest first. Those who truly understand her. When freedom shivers in the cold shadow of true peril, it's always the patriots who first hear the call. When loss of liberty is looming, as it is now, the siren sounds first in the hearts of freedom's vanguard. The smoke in the air of our Concord bridges and Pearl Harbors is always smelled first by the farmers.
That's right.
Who come from their simple homes to find the fire and fight.
Can you feel it?
Because they know that sacred stuff resides in that wooden stock and blued steel. Something that gives the most common man the most uncommon of freedoms. When ordinary hands can possess such an extraordinary instrument, that symbolizes the full measure of human dignity and liberty.
That's right.
That's why those 5 words issue an irresistible call to us all, and we must.
And he takes up the rifle. It is the irresistible call. They are taking the Bill of Rights, the 4th Amendment, the 10th. They are spending $85 billion a month of our money, giving it to offshore banks. We are being put into economic bondage. That's why they're coming for the guns. They staged Fast and Furious to get the guns. And I wish that Jim Carrey could join us that love liberty. It is a sad day that he sits there like a petulant child, making fun and saying, "You're dead, Charlton Heston. You're not popular. Nobody likes you," because they know it's the opposite. And they are like moths around the flame of tyranny, begging that it give them power instead of being individually strong. Gun ownership exploding has scared the globalists, and crime rates have dropped, except in the cities where they've taken the guns. These predators are so upset that you are still individualistic and strong, and they know that you're hearing that siren call to stand up against liberty. It's an undeniable call. And we hear their dark sirens calling us to tyranny, but we hear the better angels calling us towards liberty. And we will defeat the New World Order. But I got to tell you, Carrey's attack on the Second Amendment is so vicious and so sick and so evil. And Charlton Heston was so classy compared to people like Carrey. And when you look at them, you realize how weak and pathetic our enemies are. Jim Carrey, we all know you have armed bodyguards, that you deny the rest of the American people. And you are nothing but a sellout and a burnout. Your last 3 or 4 movies have been total failures. And groveling to the movie systems to sell out American liberty will never give you stardom. You are an empty, narcissistic nothing who trusted the system so much you brain damaged your own family with vaccines. And when your wife had the courage to stand up against it, you got rid of her. You are nothing but a pathetic enemy of free humanity, and you will reap what you sow, Mr. Carrey.